Welcome back to the channel. Today we are, big surprise, reviewing a new car of mine. So this is the Twingo RS 2009 pre-facelift. Right, so we'll get straight into it. I picked this car up probably just over a month ago. I'd say one of the cheapest in the UK, realistically. £1,800. Realistically, you should expect to pay anywhere between £2,000 and still probably like £5,000. So it's a 1.6. It's got a dephaser. That's the big thing about this. That's what makes it such a peppy, enjoyable little thing. So it makes it worthy of wearing the RS badge. So it weighs exactly a ton, 130 horsepower, 133 is what they market it as, the Twingo 133. It is quite similar to my old Ignis, which is in another video as well. I would say, in a lot of ways, it's the Ignis, but perfected. More robust, which I didn't think I'd ever say about Renault. So being a Renault, still very plasticky. A lot of the controls are just genuinely awful. They feel like they've come off a car from the 90s. The plastic wears away really nasty. It feels proper cheap. You are paying for an entry-level Renault Sport, similar age to that of the Clio 197, that is a bit more focused on lower weight, less power. In my mind, French cars have always been the king of hot hatches. There is no beating a French hot hatch. It makes me think of Peugeot 205s, the original like Williams Clios, like Mark 1 Clios. Oh my god, it's so fucking hot! I'm so irritated! So how did I get this for a low price? Well, no big surprise. I don't think I ever go for a higher price example of a car. It's got 115,000 miles on it, which is getting up for only like a 13-year-old car. In my mind, that's not that old. And especially for a little engine like this, which is quite high compression and relies on revving it out to really do anything with. The other things are that it's got quite scuffed wheels. These are interesting wheels. They're 17s, which is really big for the size of the car, with really quite low profile tyres, and they're almost convex in shape, the wheel itself, so they really protrude quite a lot. And if you're going to hit something with the side of your car, it's going to be your wheel first. So they are curved to absolute shit. And then the big thing, which I pointed out quite early on during, when seeing this car, is what I initially thought was lift to tick, but it's standard Renault issue of a blowing exhaust. So I believe it to be probably around the manifold. It's not bad, but it's just this constant like airy ticking noise, which does get a bit annoying, and it will get worse over time, so it will need some money spending on it. Will I spend that money? Absolutely not. The market at about that age, 2009, not really sure what other contenders you've got for a real lightweight, low power car like this. The big one that completely dwarfed this was the 500 Abarth, was coming out at about this time. So 1.4 petrol turbo, a lot more inertia, a lot more, I think, appealing to the masses, and they've held their value pretty well. These not really so sought after, I guess. Not as many of them on the road. I can't see why. I love it. I'd rather have this over a Fiat 500 Abarth any day, really. So funky French styling. They always try and do some avant-garde shit that just doesn't really work. So it's kind of grim in here. The stereo is facing just the wrong way. You get a electric readout for in the center of your vehicle instead of in front of you, for your speed and your miles and stuff like that, but it's really not very detailed at all, and you can cycle through it and it doesn't show you anything, so that's good. Speakers are crap. No bass whatsoever. They're really quite tinny, so that's something I'll probably upgrade over time. So all those bad points I've pointed out, why do I like this? Why did I buy it? First of all, believe it or not, practicality might not make sense because it's a tiny car, but it's comfortable. I could quite happily do quite a few miles in it. The seats themselves are pretty stiff, but I'm a skinny guy and they hug me very well on the side bolsters and on the bolsters of the seat. Pretty firm. What do you expect? It's Renault Sport suspension. It's meant to be firm. It's meant to not have all that much compliance when it comes to corners. I've taken out the back seats at the moment in preparation for a big road trip, which will necessitate a lot of space in the back. Amazed at how much you can fit in the back with the seats out. The seats are held in by 2 bolts. It took me literally 3-4 minutes to get the seats out. Everything that you do on this car when it comes to working on it really is quite simple. It's all very compact. It's a little bit tricky to work on the engine because it is almost too compact. It's quite nestled back under the almost under the windscreen, which is actually one of the problems that people have with this when it comes to reliability. The big thing that happens repeatedly is that if you get heavy rain, the scuttle panel in front of the windscreen gets overwhelmed, drips down on top of the coil packs, which is no good. Fries coil packs. Boxes are sort of made of chocolate, a bit like a lot of Renault gearboxes are. This hasn't given me any concerning signs yet that it's on its way out. The gear linkage has popped off a couple of times, which is frustrating. So it can't really handle all that much of a real harsh, rowing through the gears. That should probably teach me not to be a knob. Up on the revs, and you really focus on maintaining your momentum. That is where this car shines. This is the best handling car I've driven. I've owned, not driven. Not really. This big dead zone, around 3,000 revs, you notice it especially when cold. If you try and floor it between 2 and 3 grand, like it's fueling right, it's not just a flat spot, it's a non-existent power spot. So it is quite dramatic, and a lot of people get it mapped out. What you can do is cams, exhaust intake, and a map, which is about what you do with most naturally aspirated cars anyway. But these do respond really well to mapping out that flat spot and a nice intake and exhaust. Get yourself down to Halfords, slap a £10 bloody air intake on this, and it just is insane. The noise it makes is otherworldly, it's godly. Pretty heavy, which is quite a nice feeling. That's sort of what you want in a sporty little car. Around 4 grand is this real nice sweet spot of torque I've discovered. Sort of zip through the gears. When you're up to speed, no problem at all. So it doesn't feel gutless. And a Renault Sport before, I've driven a couple, and to me this really does seem like the perfect entry-level Renault Sport, which is what it was designed. Is difficult as you'd expect. Harsh rise, high revving engine, 70, you sort of sit at 4 grand and it's quite intrusive noise wise. All 3D printing conversion kits where you replace the fog light with sort of 3D printed tunnel for brake cooling purposes. I have a look at it and notice the factory sort of flared arches and different stance, and know that there's something going on there. left hand. Love a good apex. That's what we love.